is a football podcast, man. Meat, football, good. Man, we talk football. We eat burgers.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. I am Josh Johnson.
Allegedly.
Ben Watts is with me in the driver's seat. We're about to talk Week 6 fantasy football. Ben, how excited are you?
Very. It's a big week.
It is
Could
a
be
big
6-0 in my favorite league. I'm ready for it. Bring it.
I think
Let's
at best I can get is 5-1, so 6-0 is not in the cards for me anywhere.
Love it.
But 5-1,
Undefeated, never lost.
not bad. 6-0, not quite as juicy as 6-0. I mean,
Trying to get back on track in my other league, or the other favorite dynasty league.
yeah. Well, that's where we're at. We're smooth sailing, I think, for the most part in Dynasty Redraft. It is hit or miss. Completely hit or miss.
It's all right.
We've got our starts of the week on this episode. We've also got a preview of all the Sunday games. Thursday, we're not even going to talk about it because it was garbage. So bad.
So we've had one touchdown in... No, they did score twice Thursday, didn't they?
Did they? Or
Brian
was it
Robinson
just-
scored, and Justin Fields threw a touchdown.
That's right. Yep, Brian Robinson did score. I wasn't sure if it was like
So the
four
first
field
two-
goals or not.
The first two touchdowns in 8 quarters in overtime. That's
And the
rough.
final score was 12-7. So obviously it was a barn burner.
It was tough to watch.
Really good stuff. So yeah, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Matchup number 1 that we want to dive into here: San Francisco 49ers versus your beloved and very, very bad Falcons.
We got the Julio jersey over here.
Yeah.
Excited about it.
So the 49ers, I think it's pretty cut and dry. It's George Kittle, you're very excited about it. Jeff Wilson, you're very excited about it. Debo, same thing. Brandon Ayuk, a good flex start, I think.
He's okay.
He's an okay flex.
The Falcons' defense is horrible. They're like 27th in the NFL. So, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And then, Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess, in a pinch, if you need like a second quarterback maybe in Superflex, you could start him,
Yep.
but nothing really special there from Jimmy G. On the flip side, Atlanta, this is a terrible matchup for everybody in a Falcons jersey.
You do not start a single Falcon. Not one.
But you're right, though. You really shouldn't. Mariota, don't start him. Kyle Pitts,
You start Drake London if you're desperate, but don't love it.
my poor man, Mr. Pitts.
You can
cannot-
find somebody better than Pitts this week.
You can't start him. Coming back
No.
off the injury, like it's going to be bad. He will go out and he'll score 5 fantasy points. If he scores 20,
If he scores 5, I'll be impressed.
it's going to be rough. Algier, Damian Williams, what is it? Caleb Huntley is the other guy here. They're basically, here's what's going to happen. The backfield as a whole will score 15 fantasy points, and they're pretty much splitting that 3 ways. So that's a recipe for really bad fantasy split up.
Good. Stay away from it. The whole situation.
Yeah. Drake London, I guess, if you desperately need a flex. But
He
he's
could
gonna
do
get
something
volume, but
against the
I just
secondary
don't think
late.
Yeah. I just don't see it really being much.
It's
against
crazy
the
that the Falcons' offense is actually, contrary to popular belief, it's been good. They're like 10th in the NFL right now.
That's crazy. It's because
They won't
Arthur
finish there.
Smith, No, they will not. Arthur Smith wants to run the ball a bunch, and that comes through.
And he doesn't want to throw to Kyle Pitts
He
at all.
does not. No, not even. a
Kyle
little
Pitts
bit.
is useless.
New England Patriots versus Cleveland Browns.
Ew.
This is going to be a good one.
Ew.
A good one.
Why is it going to be good?
So no
You big,
Damian
you
Harris.
big Bailey Zapp fan?
No. Bailey Zappi is fine. He
He's a
is
stud.
he's okay. But he's got the offense rolling a little bit. They just crushed the Lions and their 32nd ranked defense. So I don't know. I do think that it's probably like Cleveland's defense is pretty bad too. So you might have a rerun of last week because New England's defense, we know they're going to be really good. So outside of the obvious guys here for Cleveland, I mean, it's Nick Chubb. You probably should start Amari Cooper. And then that's the end of it, I think, for Cleveland. I would not be starting Kareem Hunt. Let's put it that way. And
No.
then on the New England side, I mean, I guess you start Jacoby Myers. He's looked really good. And you start Ramondre. He's
Yeah, Ramondre's gonna be big time.
he's teed up for a great matchup against Cleveland's really bad run defense.
I love it.
Yeah. Jets versus Green Bay. Listen, if the Packers can't figure out their offense against the Jets, I don't know what to tell you.
That's. I don't know, man. Still don't trust anybody against that on that offense.
No.
You
I
start
don't.
A.J. Dillon, you start Aaron Jones. That's it.
I'm not starting A.J. Dillon in the one league I've got him. I mean, the matchup is good. So on paper, you should start him. But
To be fair, you do have some decent players on that squad, so
Yeah. I do have good pivot options. I got Kenneth Walker. I got Brees Hall. There's no reason to start A.J. Dillon. But I think if you've got Dillon, you probably have to start him. And the matchup is pretty decent. So, like, the past few weeks when he's really busted, I don't think that translates here.
we'll see. I don't know. It's just another game. I'm just not excited about this at all.
No. Romeo Dubs, start him. Aaron Rodgers should be good. But, again, they were bad against the Giants last week, so what do I know? On the Jets side, Brees Hall, Mr. Automatic. He's an RB1 rest of season. And,
I hate to say it, but you're probably right.
yeah, he's the RB9 currently in half PPR. I think he's like the RB6 in PPR. He's probably like a borderline top 5 running back rest of season. Maybe not.
I don't think I'm gonna go top 5, but he's he's top. Yeah, I gave you top 10.
Top 10 for sure.
Michael Carter is still a problem. Obviously, it's his backfield, but Michael Carter is going to eat into it just a little bit, just enough to make you upset.
That's exactly what it is. Just enough to make you upset. Not enough to actually do anything, but just enough to be a pain in your butt.
Like Brees Hall could have had 30, but Michael Carter snuck in there and took 10 away from him.
Yeah. Outside of him, pass catchers here, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, to me it's Garrett Wilson and nobody else. And even then, I don't feel good about it.
I don't trust him yet, but he did had 7 targets with Zach Wilson. I think that puts him like he's had 7 a game, or he's like average 7 targets a game or something like that. So he's the one there for sure.
Yeah. Minnesota, Miami. This is, I think, if you're ever going to start your Vikings players with confidence, it's this week. They are. Miami's defense is bad, really, really bad. So Kirk Cousins, I think, if you have kind of like a fringe QB that you're not, locked into every week, you start Kirk. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, you start him every week. Obviously, Dalvin Cook,
Why?
you start him every week. But also, I think Thielen is probably a good start this week.
Oh, the old man, Adam Thielen.
The old man.
He just produces.
He does.
He just always produces.
I think you could probably lock him in for a touchdown this week. It's been a bit. It feels like it's time for Thielen
He's
to get in the end zone.
overdue.
He is overdue for sure. Miami's starting that. They're starting Skylar Thompson. So,
But I think they said Bridgewater has passed the concussion protocol, so he's going to be backing up Skylar Thompson, from what I heard.
okay.
And Tua is coming back next week.
Yeah. So Tua got through the protocol, but they're not letting him play.
No, they can't. Not right now. Not with the scrutiny they just dealt with.
It's too soon.
Y'all screwed up.
Yeah, so it looks
Y'all
like they're
screwed up.
starting Skylar Thompson. Maybe Bridgewater plays some. I don't know. But with that team, if he goes out and he gets destroyed again, they're going to be killed. So they're like, we're just not going to play anybody good so that nobody hates us.
Yeah, it's not allowed.
Tyreek Hill, I think regardless, you probably have to start him. Jalen Waddle, probably the same deal. Like, you just kind of have to, even though they might do nothing. They might really suck.
I think Jalen Waddle is like a screaming buy low right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't produced. The quarterbacks have been out. Like, go get Jalen Waddle right now.
Raheem Mostert, you start him. He looks like he's kind of taking a stranglehold on the backfield. And, you know,
He was a little banged up.
yeah,
this past
he
week.
had that knee injury designation this past week, so I don't know how
Not
much.
surprising. He's always got a knee injury destination.
Yeah, he's perpetually hurt.
It always happens.
You know, it's the Rashad Penny thing. You know, at some point he's going to get a season-ending injury. It's just going to happen.
It's coming.
Jacksonville,
You just don't want to have him in the lineup the week it happens.
You do not. Jacksonville versus the Colts. Both of these teams don't inspire much confidence at all.
Wait,
really.
I don't know if you saw it. I just saw the notification, and it took everything from flipping the table that they just downgraded Jonathan Taylor to out.
Oh my God.
So he is not going to play this week. And I am incredibly upset about it because I was depending on him in multiple leagues. And looks like that's not going to happen.
Who's the other guy there? Deion Jackson?
Yeah, Naheem Hines is also out.
Oh, good. Well,
So things are not going well for the Colts.
no, they're not. They're going very bad.
This was like the week you want to start. Like, it's Jacksonville. Like, I know they shut him out last time, but they're not going to shut him out again.
So is Deion Jackson like a halfway
expected
decent
JT to
start
go off.
this week then? Because he's
Nah, I don't
he's
think
the
so.
only guy there. Oh, nice.
Philip Lindsay.
Oh, gross. But yeah, you're right. You have.
I don't
to.
want to start either one of them. Like, if you're starting him, like, that's not good. You're in trouble.
Well,
They gave him 10 days off.
yeah, I don't get it.
I'm upset about Jonathan Taylor, man.
So, well, I just picked up Deion Jackson in our follower league, so I'll be playing him instead of Mr. Jonathan Taylor.
R.I.P.
Pain.
Is that
okay.
the first follow league or the second one? Because
The
I need
first
to go
one.
get him in the second one.
In the second one, somebody's already got it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Oh, that's awful. Well, all right.
So this matchup just got way less exciting.
Yeah, it just got really gross. So I guess Indianapolis, you start Michael Pittman. You, I guess, could flex
That's it.
Alec Pierce. No, not even.
I guess maybe. Yeah, you could. Desperation flex Alex Pierce.
Jacksonville. So it's James Robinson and ETN, but it kind of looks like that backfield is sort of trending towards a 50-50 split.
ETN has outsnapped James Robinson the past 2 weeks, and he's been more efficient with his opportunities. So I don't know if I'm not going to say we were wrong early on in the season when James Robinson was dominating, but ETN is at least closing the gap, if not kind of taking the leading role there. Which, again, we almost should have expected because, like, as great a story as James Robinson is and as good as he is, ETN is a better player and he is a more versatile player. So you knew eventually he's going to figure it out. They're going to give him opportunities. And that's not to say that it's going to, like, you should get rid of James Robinson or anything like that. He's still going to be great. But it's, yeah, like you said, it's going to be much more of a split, and I think eventually ETN will be the lead back.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely trending that way. Christian Kirk in this matchup, I think you probably start him and feel relatively
Wide
good
receiver
about
2.
it. Yeah, not.
He's had a bad couple weeks, but except for last week when he only had 3 targets. He's still getting like 10 targets a game.
Yeah.
He hasn't been as efficient, but he's gone against some really tough matchups, so I'm not super concerned about him. He's still going to be fine.
Yeah. Let's see here. We've got Cincinnati versus New Orleans.
Now we're talking.
Now we're cooking with some gas.
Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Heat. On the other side, you got the witch doctor, Alvin Kamara. I think Michael Thomas is coming back, I'm pretty sure. Have you heard anything about that?
I'm not 100% sure about Michael Thomas. I'm also not 100% sure about Olave.
Yeah, Olave's been banged up. Those are worth monitoring. I should have looked it up beforehand. I didn't think about it, but I know they were both banged up, but they were hopeful like one of them would play, I think.
Yeah, I think at least one will play, and I'm pretty sure Olave is likely to play, but I guess the thing with him is that with the concussion thing, he was progressing through the protocol, and I'm not 100% sure if they'll actually let him start, because it seems like the concussion protocol is trending towards if you get a concussion, you just miss the next game.
Probably. I think that's more or less what it's going to come to.
So, obviously you start both of them if they play. I mean, you're really excited about Thomas. If Olave's out, you're really excited about Olave's. Thomas is out. So, either way, I think you start them if they're there.
Yeah. Olave's upgraded himself to a must start every week if he's healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is for sure. I think he's like a top 15, top 20 wide receiver rest of the season.
Easily.
Yeah. Cincinnati, it's the people you know of. It's Jamar Chase, Higgins.
Higgins has been
Mixon.
banged up. I'm a little concerned about the injury with him. Obviously, they straight up lied to us last week, and I'm still mad about that.
Yeah.
But if he's healthy, I guess you still got to play him. Because he's been dominant when he's on the field, especially with Jamar Chase taking so many double teams, and Higgins is just one-on-one with everybody.
Yeah.
And he's going to win that every single time.
Right. Yeah, so pretty straightforward matchup on that one. Baltimore versus the Giants.
And I think Marshawn Lattimore's out, side note, too. So that's even
is he?
better for the Bengals wide receivers. Yeah.
Oh man. I feel like it's going to happen at some point. They're going to have a boom week. I don't know when it's going to happen. I need it to happen, but
It's like Jamar Chase, everybody's been disappointed with him. I'm still not like worried in the slightest because he's got, through 5 games, he's got over 50 targets. He hasn't been super efficient, but he's double teamed like every single play. The volume is there. T. Higgins is banged up. So like it's coming very soon. The next couple of weeks, Jamar Chase is going to have that game where he just completely takes the top off.
yeah, I think so too. Ravens, Giants. This one is really interesting. On paper, the Ravens should mop up the Giants, but the Giants are 4-1.
You would think they're 4-1, dude.
That is mind-boggling. They just beat.
Is that the best division in football?
No, but on paper it is.
Yes.
Like they all suck, but they are winning games. So what do I know? Yeah. So I think Rashad Bateman's out for Baltimore in this one.
He is.
So Devin Duvernay to me is kind of a sleeper must start. And
The Duve.
Yeah, the Duve.
I remember we were, this was like months ago. I don't know why I remember, but I called him that on episode, and you were like, I think this might have been when we were arguing about rankings, and you had like Rashad Bateman over a bunch of guys that were really good, and I was yelling at you for that. And you're like, it's just him and Mark Andrews, dude. And I'm like, you're not worried about Devin Duvernay, the Duve? You're like, no, I'm not worried about Devin Duvernay. Turns out he's actually been pretty good.
He's actually been okay. Yeah, so Duvernay, Mark Andrews, Dobbins, you start him. I think, last week he didn't get a ton of volume. Yeah, you flex him. I'm not expecting RB2, RB1 numbers from him quite yet. Like he just hasn't shown the workload to do that. But
She's still going to be
talent's
touchdown
there.
dependent for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Lamar Jackson, obviously, you sit him.
I would not play him.
Yeah, just don't bother.
I would start Kirk Cousins over him easily.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? No,
Easily.
you start Lamar Jackson. Giants side, it's Saquon Barkley and literally nobody else.
If you have to have a QB2, you can start Daniel Jones. Don't love it, but he'll do in a pinch.
He'll do in a pinch for sure. He's been solid, I think, as fantasy goes this year. So, I don't think he will disappoint.
He's
Let's put
averaging
it that
like
way.
15 or something a game.
That's fine. He won't goose.
Not
you, let's put it
incredible,
that way.
but again, it's in a horrible situation. Like, throw him in there. He's got the rushing floor. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Buccaneers versus Steelers. This one is a start all your Buccaneers with confidence kind of week.
Did you see what the Bills just did to him?
Yeah. So Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, you feel great about him this week. If there's ever
Start
a week,
Fournette.
yeah, you start Fournette. Honestly, Rashad White, he's not to the point where I'm starting him, but like he may pop in this matchup. The writing is on the wall for him to potentially.
They could get up big enough, and he's going to snag that stray touchdown in the second half.
Right, yeah. If he scores, he could have a decent week. Don't start him, but like he could have a good week. Tom Brady is a must start this week.
As far as Steelers, it's much more interesting as far as who you start, who you don't. And I think the elephant in the room is: are you starting Najee Harris this week?
Yes.
Because you have to. You
Because
don't have
I have to.
You paid a first-round pick for him. That's why you start him.
So I've only got him in one league. It's a dynasty league. So, I have options, but my options currently are like Raheem Mostert. And
You texted me about that yesterday. Like, do I start Raheem Mostert over Najee? I'm like, no, question mark. Like, I don't. You can't, but I feel like Raheem Mostert's probably going to outscore Najee.
exactly.
Like, you can lock Najee in for probably 8 points. That's about it.
So, did you see the clip where Najee was talking to reporters and he said that he pulled out the steel plate that he's had in his shoe and he is finally feeling himself again?
I saw that. Don't know how much stock I put in it.
I don't know either. We're about to find out, aren't we?
Jalen Warren. Okay, now it's not like Jalen Warren is better than Najee Harris. He is not. But Jalen Warren has been more efficient than Najee Harris, and he has looked like he has more juice than Najee Harris.
Can we
Now already
attribute
can turn
that
into
to
it.
the injury, though?
That's what I was wondering. Maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you got to start him if you have him, and you just kind of have to put him there and cringe a little bit.
You pray he scores a touchdown, because if not, it's going to be a bad week.
Yeah, if he scores a touchdown, he could give you like 16 points, but like the ceiling of the 25, 30.
That is the
not there.
max, though.
Yeah,
That is the
that's
absolute
a huge
max.
bummer, but that's your ceiling right now. And they're playing the Buccaneers' run defense, which essentially nobody can run on them. So it's not.
It's
gonna be
like
good.
second or first in the NFL.
Yeah,
You don't run on the Bucks.
not good at all. Pivoting to the afternoon games, Carolina versus the Rams.
Ew.
You start McCaffrey here.
Oh, yeah.
So PJ Walker is going to start at quarterback for the Panthers. They fired Matt Rule, obviously, so maybe they're. I have seen some people optimistic about DJ Moore because historically, when PJ Walker starts, he heavily targets DJ Moore. But it is
He's
PJ
just like,
Walker.
all right, that's the best guy. Let's go to him.
Right. Let's force feed our studs here. But the problem is it's PJ Walker, so like he could give him 15 targets and it could totally just result in like 80 yards.
15 targets, 4 catches for 30 yards kind of thing. Something awful.
I think some people will have to start DJ Moore just because of where they drafted him. But a lot of people, I think, have found ways to pivot off of him and find other options.
Well done.
Yeah, good on you. I'm not starting him this week. Granted, I've only got him in Dynasty Leagues. I don't have him in a redraft league anywhere. So you might just have to, and it's not going to be
I think
pretty,
I've got
don't
him
think.
in 1 or 2 redraft leagues, but it was the same situation. Like I was kind of able to either play the waivers or I was able to trade to get somebody so I don't have to start DJ Moore.
Fair enough. Yeah. if you have to, you have to. But if you have a luxury option, go with that. For the Rams, Cam Akers will not play
Cooper Kupp.
Sunday. Yeah, it's Cooper Kupp. You start him. You feel great about him. Tyler Higbee, I guess with tight ends being terrible this year, you're fine starting him.
I think he's still a tight end. Just because scarcity of position, he's a tight end one. Like, I think you can. This should be a fairly competitive game, but the Rams should be able to win it easily, I guess. So I expect still kind of a high target volume for Higbee. So his floor feels pretty good. 7-8 points for a tight end's not bad. He's always got the touchdown upside with Stafford, so he'll be fine. Darrell Henderson is about to pop, I hope,
We hope.
with no Cam Akers. He's the lead back against nobody else, really.
Yeah, there really is not anyone else there. Is Kyron Williams healthy yet? Is he even like on the active roster?
I think so.
I don't know.
Um,
I mean, it really does
Let me
feel
look
like
it up.
it's Darrell Henderson and legitimately nobody else.
Who's got Kyron Williams? Let me just look him up.
Are you starting Matthew Stafford? Do you feel okay about him yet enough to
Nope.
pop him? Nope.
Nope.
Not even.
I'm not starting Matthew Stafford.
It's brutal.
He said his best game of the year is 20 points, and outside of that, he's averaged like 10 a game.
Yeah, he's been so bad.
You can get somebody. You start Marcus Mariota over Matthew Stafford. I
Yeah,
mean, really.
You do, but like that's awful.
Doesn't sound right, but you do.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Yeah, that's gross. That game feels like it's going to be nasty. The Rams, to me, have proven that they are not good on offense this year. They need
Super Bowl
another.
hangover is legit.
Yeah, they need their offensive line to figure itself out, and they need desperately another receiver that's good. You're not starting Allen Robinson. In fact, you probably should have cut him already.
There was I've seen Allen Robinson cut in a couple leagues, and I'm not picking him up.
No.
I didn't even put a waiver claim in.
No, you just let him go. Arizona versus Seattle.
Could actually be a fun game.
This could be very fun. I'm excited about it. Kenneth Walker, you start him. You feel good about him. DK Metcalf. And I think Tyler Lockett. I think you have to start both the receivers here. The offense is just proven
Because I think
to be-
Arizona's going to score on Seattle.
Right. The offense has just proven to be so much better than we thought. And I think, honestly, it feels weird, but I think you have to start Geno Smith.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting him until proven otherwise. I'd start him over Stafford.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes, for sure. Stafford's been so bad. Yeah, so I think all the options on the offense there. DJ Dallas, a flyer, like a super sleeper potential play this week, but that's only like in really, really, really deep leagues.
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah. It's tough.
Eno Benjamin looks like he's going to get probably 75,
Start him.
80% of snaps. Yeah, you got to start him. I accidentally just dropped him in a dynasty league this week because I was like, am I going to start him over Kenneth Walker? No, probably not. But should I? I don't know. So I dropped him and picked up Zach Wilson.
And then the best team in the league picked him up off waivers, so way to freaking go, Josh. Idiot.
Yep. Love to see it. Let's see here. Yeah, it's Hollywood Brown. It's Kyler Murray. You start them. You feel good about them.
You start Zach Ertz. You start Eno Benjamin.
Yeah.
Maybe you start Rondale Moore. Maybe.
Spot start potentially, but really not much more than that. Buffalo, Kansas City. This is going to be a fireworks show.
Now we're talking.
Now we're.
This is what we've been waiting for.
This is everybody here. You start them. I don't even think we really need to go into detail here.
Yep.
It's
If there's a question about him, you start him.
yeah,
Do you have a question about Singletary?
start him.
Throw him in the flex.
Yeah,
Gabe Davis, wide receiver 2. I mean, what about the KC wide receivers? You still start them? I still don't know which one.
One of them probably will get a touchdown. So the problem with them is I don't know which one it's going to be.
You thought that last week, and Kelsey scored 4.
He did. He did. Kelsey might give you 8 tutties this week. I don't know.
Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns, and not one went to a wide receiver.
Yeah. I don't know. It's much more cut and dry with Buffalo because you know who they're going to funnel their stuff to.
And you know how they run their offense. Like, KC's a little bit more wild, unpredictable in a good way, but not so good for fantasy.
Buffalo is what Kansas City was the past few years, where it was like 3 players that were getting touches, and that was it. Buffalo is that way now. Kansas City is more spread out. So, as a whole, they will produce. Patrick Mahomes obviously is a great play in this one. Travis Kelce the same way. The wide receivers, there are more question marks, but because of the matchup, I'm willing to toss, Juju into a flex, MVS into a flex. You probably are starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in this matchup just because I expect points.
You have to. With the touchdown potential, like, will he get one? I don't know. If he doesn't, he's not going to be great, but if he does, he will be great.
Yeah.
So,
Dallas, Philadelphia, this one
Another
should be
good one.
a really good game. I think Philly has narrowed down their offensive pie to a couple players. So it's A.J. Brown, you start him with confidence. Dallas Goedert, great tight end play. Devonta Smith, you probably toss him in a flex and feel pretty good about that. Miles Sanders, start him. Obviously,
yeah, I think
Hurts, you start him.
Devonta Smith is a lot better than, or maybe it's not a lot better than we thought, but he's a lot better than we had hoped he would be.
Yeah,
because we were like, maybe he's the odd man out. He's kind of solidified himself as a target monster almost.
Yeah. Dallas side, Zeke. I would love to pivot off of Zeke this week, but you probably have to start him. Tony Pollard, I would not. I'm not touching Tony Pollard in this matchup.
No.
Cooper Rush, no. CeeDee Lamb, you start him. And I think that is where it ends.
Yeah, I agree.
Denver versus the Chargers.
Another one should have been good.
Should have. On paper, looks nice.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
But Denver sucks. So I'm starting my Chargers, and I'm probably starting Cortland Sutton. You probably have to start Melvin Gordon.
You start Judy.
Ugh. Yeah, you got to start Judy. If you can start Geno Smith over Russ, you do that.
Feels wrong, but you do.
Yeah. Denver's cut and dry because they're bad. So like you really only start and they have narrowed their offense to a few players. So like they're not good, but those few players are probably worth a start. For the Chargers, Justin Herbert, obviously. Keenan Allen, if he plays, I think you got to start him.
I think they've already said he's doubtful to play. So
Okay.
he's not going to go.
In that case, Gerald
And even
Everett
if
is gonna be
if
great.
they're like leading up to it, with it being Monday night, I think you have to pivot off Keenan Allen because there's a chance he doesn't play, so you don't want to get screwed.
That's true. Yeah. So Mike Williams, lock him in. Gerald Everett, lock him in. Eckler, obviously, you play him and feel great about him.
You lower the expectations for everybody a little bit just because Denver's defense is so good.
Yeah.
But with Keenan Allen out, the volume is going to be consistent for all 3 of those guys.
Yep. All right. To wrap things up, our starts of the week. Ben, hit me with your locked-in, ironclad start of the week.
We already talked about it a little bit. Darrell Henderson, no Cam Akers. Kyron Williams is still in the IR, I checked. So while you don't love the offense, you don't love the situation that's been going on, it should be a more competitive game against Carolina, and he's going to get all of the work, all of the pass catching out of the backfield. So lock in Darrell Henderson.
Yeah. My start of the week will be Ramondre Stevenson. It's low-hanging fruit, but the matchup
That's
is...
an easy one.
It's so
That's
easy.
an easy one.
The matchup is so good. There's no Damian Harris.
It's juicy.
He's listed as questionable currently, which is very weird considering...
Stevenson?
No, Harris. Damian
Oh,
Harris.
I thought he broke his leg or something, didn't he?
No, it was a hamstring. So it's supposed to be like a 3-week injury, but he's currently listed as questionable. So
They start him. He scores 2 touchdowns at the goal line.
I will shoot myself. But Ramondre on paper feels like an absolute top 10 running back of the week. Must smash start. So Ramondre, I think, is going to be great this week.
He's going to dominate.
That'll do it for this one. If you,
It's a short one.
It's a little quickie to get you ready.
Saturday special.
Exactly. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with a friend. Check us out on Instagram at FantasyBrothers_. That'll be it. I'm gonna go watch some college football.
I am too.
Gonna go do questionable things.
Questionable things.
Yeah, questionable things.
Slightly illegal. Slightly illegal. Who knows?
We'll see ya. Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Brothers podcast. If you enjoyed the episode and want to connect to us, follow us on Instagram at FantasyBrothers_ or on Twitter at FantasyBros_. If you want to support the show, you can do that at Patreon /FantasyBrothers.